In the 80s, kids played a sleepover game called Bloody Mary. They'd turn off the lights, stare into the mirror, and say her name 3 times. Most just got scared. But one girl in Ohio didn't come back out. Her friends swore the mirror rippled. Police found no sign of struggle, no broken glass, just her handprint pressed from the inside. 30 years later, the house is gone. But the mirror? It turned up in an antique shop 3 towns over, and when the owner cleaned the glass, he found new fingerprints, smaller ones. Some people say the girl's still in there. Others say every time someone whispers her name, the mirror listens. You can try it yourself, but if the reflection smiles before you do, don't turn around.
You ever stay somewhere so cheap it feels wrong? I checked into room 9 off Highway 17. $40, 1 key, no Wi-Fi, just a smell like wet carpet and old rain. Around 3:12 in the morning, I woke up to someone whispering through the wall. Not loud, not angry, just knowing. It said, "Stop leaving your window open." I froze, because my window was open. The next night, same time, same voice. But this time it said, "Don't pretend to be asleep when I knock." Then came 3 soft knocks. I ran outside. Room 10 was empty. No cars, just wind and a plastic bag caught on the fence. The receptionist swore, "Honey, there is no room 10. I went back to pack my things. But the voice came again, closer this time, inside my room. It said, "You're late checking out, Mary. Do you still hear them when you leave?"
Have you ever seen your reflection move before you did? A guy cleaning his grandma's house found an old mirror in the attic, wrapped in a dusty bedsheet with tape that said, "Do not uncover." Of course, he pulled it off. At first, it was just him. Then, the reflection blinked. He didn't. He thought maybe his eyes were dry, but when he leaned closer, the reflection smiled. His own mouth didn't move at all. He backed away, but the reflection stayed close to the glass, watching him. Then he noticed something carved into the frame. "Only one of us gets to leave." The attic door slammed. His phone light flickered, and from behind the mirror, he heard someone breathing. Police found the mirror later, spotless, but the reflection inside wasn't him anymore.
They said the old fairgrounds were haunted. Not by spirits, but by a clown who never stopped laughing. A local man went ghost hunting there last year. He set up cameras near the carousel, and at 3 a.m., a faint giggle echoed through the empty tents. When he followed it, his flashlight flickered. And there, sitting on a broken chair, was a man in smeared white paint and a torn red nose, smiling straight at him. He raised his camera, but the clown wasn't in the viewfinder, only an empty chair and a single red balloon floating perfectly still. The man ran, left everything behind, but when police found his footage, they heard something in the audio. Right before the clip ends, a whisper under his breath says, "Don't laugh back." It was supposed to be just another Friday night, packed club, flashing lights, everyone dancing, until the DJ's track glitched. A sharp pop, then silence. But the crowd kept moving, perfectly in sync. The strobes slowed down, one flash every few seconds, and with each flash, their faces changed. Smiles turned blank, eyes turned white. The DJ leaned into the mic, but the speakers hissed back with his own voice, slowed down. "Don't look at them." Then his body froze. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. His throat tightened like he was about to vomit, but something else was holding him, like an invisible weight pressing down, forcing him to watch. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. He stumbled back, gasping for air, and ran for the exit. Behind him, the music turned itself back on, the same beat looping endlessly. He looked over his shoulder one last time. The crowd was still dancing, perfectly in sync. No one ever stopped.
Ever stopped for gas in the middle of nowhere and realized the station wasn't supposed to exist? Tom's an oil field electrician, drives through back roads every week. Last night, low on fuel, he spotted a flickering neon sign. Gas, open all night. No town for miles, but the pumps looked new. He filled up, paid inside. No one at the counter, just an old register ringing by itself. Behind the glass fridge doors, the drinks were decades old. When he asked, "Anybody here?" the station lights went out, except one over pump 4. His truck door was open, and the nozzle was still in. Then, he heard his own voice whisper from inside the cab, "Get in, we've got miles to go." They found his truck empty at sunrise, tank full, keys still in. The receipt timestamp said 11:59 p.m., but the station's been abandoned since 1993. Leave a comment below. Would you have stopped or driven on fumes till the morning?
You ever use a public restroom that felt wrong, like it was too quiet? Ethan was driving home after midnight, stopped at a highway rest stop. He went in to wash his hands and noticed something strange. Every stall door was locked, every single one. He thought maybe the place was packed, but there were no footsteps, no sound. Then a voice came from the speaker overhead, calm, robotic. Someone didn't flush. He froze. The voice got louder. We can't leave until everyone cleans up their mess. The lights flickered. One stall door creaked open. Inside, an empty toilet, but water still swirling. He backed toward the exit, and the motion sensor sink turned on by itself. The mirror behind it was fogged over, and in the condensation, he saw words drawn by a finger. Your turn. They found his car still running outside. Keys in the ignition. Bathroom spotless. Would you have gone in or kept driving to the next station?
She was hired last minute, a private event, high pay, no questions asked. When she arrived, the hall was filled with smoke and old music. A live band played softly, faces half lit by candlelight. The crowd waited in perfect silence. She took the stage and began to dance. At first, the rhythm felt normal, hypnotic even. But something about the sound was off. Every drum beat echoed like it came from deep underground. Then she noticed the band. Their robes brushed the floor, but their feet never touched it. They were hovering. She looked at the audience, hundreds of them, swaying, smiling, all floating inches above the ground. The air grew heavy, and the candles bent backward, as if the room itself was breathing. One of the ghostly faces leaned forward and whispered, "Keep dancing, until the music stops." No one ever saw her leave, but sometimes if you listen near the old ballroom at night, you can still hear the faint sound of bells and ankle chains, dancing alone.
Have you ever felt your body move on its own, like something inside you decided to walk before you did? He was taking his usual route home. Quiet street, same lights, same sidewalk. Then his right foot twitched and took a step he didn't choose. His legs kept walking, slow, purposeful. His stomach twisted tighter with every step. Throat locked, heart pounding in his ears. He screamed in his head to stop, but his body didn't listen. He stopped in front of a door built into a brick wall where no door had ever been. Flaking white paint, rusted handle, cold air breathing through the cracks. His hand reached out, not his choice, and turned the knob. Inside was motion, shapes drifting like people underwater. A low hum that made his bones ache, then silence. His body released. He slammed the door. And when he looked again, there was only brick, but his hand still held the handle. Have you ever realized you were dreaming, but couldn't move or wake up? Share your dream below. Maybe it wasn't just a dream.
You think your neighborhood gets weird on Halloween? Then you've never been to this town. They say Halloween here isn't for kids anymore, but nobody tells you why. Years ago, a father took his little boy out trick-or-treating. Quiet streets, orange lights, the kind of small town that looks perfect on postcards. The first house gave them full-size candy bars. The second, an old man dropped something heavy into the boy's bucket. When the father checked, it wasn't candy. It was a tooth. The next house gave them more, a handful of them, wrapped like sweets. He laughed at first, thought it was a prank. Then he saw the blood on the wrappers. They ran. But as they passed each house, porch lights flicked on one by one, until the whole town glowed orange. Behind every door, someone whispered, "You came back." By morning, the street was empty. The father was found sitting on the curb, still holding his son's empty bucket. He wouldn't speak, just kept staring at the houses. Locals say every Halloween night, the lights still turn on, house by house, like the town's expecting someone to finish the route. Have you ever been to a place that felt wrong, like it was remembering you?
They said never open the spare room in that house. Not because it's haunted, but because it's waiting. When they moved in, the door was nailed shut. The father pried it open anyway. Inside, spotless. No dust, just still air. They used it for storage. Then the boxes started moving. Every morning the floor was empty again. One night he checked. The room was clear, but something was breathing beside him. He backed out, nailed the door shut. In the morning, the nails were on the floor and the door stood wide open. If one room in your house stays clean, don't ask why.